Previously, on And You Thought It Was Safe. The big question being, is it better or worse than the Rage Carry 2? To which I say, tack. Perenmo. Osdam, you bastards. Kaplach, Mostak, AYTIWS, Oslanenstein, Osdam, Perenmo, Kathul, Vertagen, das Bestiger. Oh, good. Finally reduced him to a state of gibbering insanity. Let's start by taking just a little bit off the top.
Behave yourselves!
I knew you were trying to kill me. Ever since the Superman 3 review, you tipped your fucking hand, man.
What's the matter, Kent? Too warm for you, huh? Huh? Come on, chicken!
You're supposed to be insane by now. Says who? You think one shitty remake's enough to take me down? I'm not like you, bro.
You shouldn't have radioed New York. You were bringing in the big one.
Let's keep with the sequel theme. See what else you don't like.
Try that cowboy shit with me, fuck you, you can kiss this. Goodbye. Got it?
Yeah, I got it.
And how many knives do you have, anyway?
I have oodles.
Since when can you do cutaway jokes? I couldn't do that a week ago. And if I can do that, then let me tell you, there's one of us out there who can do even more. And who knows what he'll do when he gets to you. So really, I'm doing you a favor from a certain point of view. Or you could do me a real favor and teleport the both of us back home. Home? That concrete box you were trapped in? No, you'll never go back there. It's already gone. Wiped out by a wave of unreality I'm almost certain he created. Rather envious, really. And what if I don't trust a word you fucking say? Well, feel free to warp yourself into non-existence, but I'd much rather carve out your heart and eat it to take your power. Wait, you mean like The One? Starring Jet Li and Jason Statham? More like a certain series of films that I'm sure you'll get requests for if I tease your audience.
There can be only one.
Oh, fuck that. All to hell. Oh, well. Sorry, Lucille. Next time. Ah, crap. So we're back to this again, are we? Well, fine. Nothing to do now but talk about Thor, the Dark World.
Some believe that before the universe, there was nothing. They're wrong. There was darkness, and it has survived.
In many ways, this movie surprised me by being the movie I expected Thor the One Without a Subtitle to be 2 years ago. A sprawling, interdimensional action-adventure starring Odin's favorite son. I remember calling Thor the second best pre-Avengers movie behind Iron Man, which I still stand by, because it was the second least annoying Avengers prequel of them all. Thor: The Dark Void is very much an Avengers sequel, and a pretty mediocre one at that. It's alright. But as Avengers sequels go, at least Iron Man 3 established some species of its own identity by being a Shane Black movie.
You breathe fire? Okay.
No disrespect to Alan Taylor. Turns out I love the man's work without even knowing it, since he's a 20-year veteran of almost every decent show on TV, from Homicide all the way through to Game of Thrones. As well as plenty of crappy shows like Mad Men, Lost, and Sex in the... Sorry. Threw up in my own mouth there. Like all good journeyman TV directors, Taylor knows we're here for what he's filmed and not necessarily for how he's filmed it. So Earth is no longer the planet of the Dutch angles, and Asgard is no longer the planet of sweeping computer-generated helicopter shots. The action is coherent, makes good use of its protagonist's powers, and does it all without recourse to spinning camera tricks or goddamn motherfucking POS shaky cam shots. So thank all the old gods and the new for small favors. But the fact remains, when I got home from the screening, Wikipedia graciously reminded me that Taylor wasn't even Marvel's second choice for this job. Which is insane! Did no one in Avengers Mansion even watch Game of Thrones? This guy's perfect, and I'm glad they gave him the chance to prove it. But they, and by they I mean the 5 people who share screenplay and story credit, plus whomever else stuck their fingers in this pie, did their best to kneecap Taylor at every turn. It's as if the screenwriters have no idea what to do with the Marvel Universe now that the Avengers have come and gone. So they drop their protagonists into the plots from mid-80s fantasy films and mark time until 2015. Thor: The Dark Descent picks up pretty much right where we left off, with Loki rotting in his father's dungeons. The Bifrost is rebuilt. Not that Thor ever really needed it, but never mind. And Thor's off on what I'm sure Odin would call peacekeeping missions if he were a Midgardian monarch. Back on Earth, Jane Foster and her intern Darcy are holed up in London, where weird gravitational anomalies are popping up like prairie dogs in the beginning of Crystal Skull. It's a bit like that, air quotes, haunted house story in the Animatrix. So much so that I expected Agents Smith, Jones, and Green to show up and start sticking metal shrimp into everyone's belly buttons. Instead, Senator Amidala falls through a wormhole and winds up... infected? Possessed? I'm just gonna go with containing an ancient doomsday weapon called the Ether. The dark elves of Svartalheim cooked it up millions of years ago to do... something, and it seems they rigged an alarm clock up to its cage, since their king, Malekith, the Accursed, soon wakes as well, and the first and only thing on his to-do list is destroy the entire universe. As with almost all these Marvel movies, the villain plot is their weakest link. I'm not even clear about it, and I've dealt with more comic book villain plots in my life than any other type of plot combined. It's said the ether can turn matter into dark matter, since dark matter is a vaguely scientific buzzword floating around our cultural ether at the moment. A little bit like quantum was about 5 years ago. We never see this happen, as much as I hoped we'd see a black-eyed, fiery-veined Natalie Portman smite her enemies with gravity powers. It just makes her skin glow a bit, kind of like movie universe Extremis, but without the potential to breathe fire. So the threat this time around is a hell of a lot vaguer than my smirking shit of a little brother wants to kill dad and take over, or the aliens have landed, let's go kill them. A giant flying megalodon, or a giant terraforming mechanical spider, these things I can wrap my head around. A floating blob of red and black particle effects, not so much, unless its name is Carnage. Thor: The Dark Backward also continues its predecessor's trend of leaving the supporting cast flapping in the breeze, like Stellan Skarsgård's junk in that scene where he streaks Stonehenge. And if you've ever wanted to see Stellan Skarsgård streak Stonehenge, well, here's your film. As before, the Warriors 3 of Asgard and Dr. Foster's scientific Scooby Gang get a few token lines, and even fewer token moments of badassitude before they're shunted into the background with less ceremony than your average kindergarten graduation. Damn it, there's a fish out of water story and or Loki show to get to. So Jane Foster becomes our fish after her boyfriend teleports her to Asgard for some extra advanced medical care that does absolutely nothing. Insert Obamacare joke here. This would be a nice reversal of the first film and the perfect time for we lowly mortals to explore Asgardian society through the eyes of Dr. Plain Jane. Too bad that would violate the action scene every 15 minutes rule all $100 million plus films must abide by, lest some twitchy pigfucker zone out and turn his cell phone on, like the pigfucker 2 rows ahead of me. I would bet you good money that those scenes existed in the script. Some of them might have even survived to be filmed, but they were all excised in the name of getting to what I'm sure some producer somewhere called the good part, the Brothers Odinson show. Not that it's onerous, Loki and Thor get most of the good lines, and a good fourth of the film to snipe at each other. Plus the twists piled upon Loki's sudden but inevitable betrayal manage to honestly and pleasantly surprise even me. But as any Star Wars fan can tell you, the surprise severing of limbs does not a good movie make. Just ask Natalie. She's right over there, twiddling her thumbs, being a plot device. Again. Getting the damsel in distress treatment even worse than Pepper Potts did back in Iron Man 3.
I got you.
I got you first.
I'll say again. 5 credited writers and a third-choice director brought in at the last possible moment. Are we surprised the villain plot makes no sense? That the comic relief verges on the odious? That the overall dialogue quality dips and weaves like a rainbow roller coaster and good ideas only emerge during the climactic battle? Are we surprised that the themes of this picture are so muddled and vague? I've heard it's all supposed to have something to do with birthright, and if I tilt my head and squint, I can kind of see that. Kind of. The Dark Elves are supposedly the oldest race in the cosmos, and so look down on the rest of us from the heady perch of a YouTube commenter who writes first and hits submit and thinks their job is done. Loki's always felt born to be king, after Odin straight up told him so in the prologue of Thor 1, and he looks down on Thor from a perch just a few cliffs over from Malekith's. Meanwhile, after 2 movies of fighting to prove he's worthy of his birthright, Thor no longer gives a fuck about it. He's found things to do with himself that don't involve stewing over how the universe supposedly owes him something just because he's such a special and unique snowflake. Fuck all that, and fuck brooding over it. There's Natalie Portmans to make out with. Life dealt you a crappy hand? Everyone think you're nuts? Well, the universe is nuttier than a warehouse full of Christmas fruitcakes. So throw your meds in the trash, pick up a hammer, and get back to work, sucker. Idris Elba just suplexed a spaceship. What have you done lately? It's just too bad this thing has no singular voice. No one felt the burning need to make Thor 2. Its existence was ordered from on high. And that, along with what was probably a metric shit ton of focus testing, shows through in the listless quality of the final product. Still, it ends on quite the high note. And I'm not talking about any of those asinine mid-credit or into-the-credits teaser sequences. Are you tired of watching climactic battles in overbuilt urban areas that all look the same anyway? Well, here comes Thor, The Dark Knight Returns, with a climax that takes place across at least 3 of the 9 realms. And I'm pretty sure I saw Muspelheim through one of those portals. Makes me wonder when we're finally going to get to HE single hockey stick hell. Though really, I'm wondering who they'll cast, and how many miles of double-sided tape they'll need to pull that costume off in live action. Meanwhile, Thor the Left Hand of Darkness will basically satisfy, if you don't mind wading through a generic plot and attempts at comedy scientifically designed to make your eyes roll. Everyone behind the camera may be new, but everyone in front of it knew their jobs and maintains the level of quality they reached back in 2011. So, once again, for like the 3rd or 4th time this year, a superhero film saved by its cast elevating boilerplate material to the level of basically okay. For Thor 3, I'd recommend 1 writer and 1 director stick with things the whole way through, with extra special bonus points awarded if those 2 positions are filled by the same person. And as long as we're talent poaching from Game of Thrones, you might as well get Lena Headey fitted for a big green cape and evil one-piece battle bathing suit. Hey, man can dream, can't he?
Yeah, thank you for the commentary, Loki. It's not at all distracting.